West is usually tough, but the East got a lot tougher. Fortunately for the Phillies, it was the other version of the East. The farthest north member of the American League East bought passports in bulk this offseason. Now the Blue Jays have a chance to cause some problems for the usual suspects in their division.
Bright House Field feels like Citizens Bank Park, not only because of the cheesesteaks, but today because of the weather. Temperatures in the high 40s, low 50s, but still some smiles and, of course, some autographs as the Phillies get set to take on the Toronto Blue Jays here at Bright House Field. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Chris Wheeler. Murph and Sarge are just around the corner. We'll talk to them in a little while. All right, the Blue Jays are in town, and no team in Major League Baseball made more moves in this offseason than the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, they can thank the Miami Marlins for a lot of them because they got some very, very good players, Tom, from the Marlins, starting with a guy named Jose Reyes. Saw him for so many years with the Mets, now with the Marlins, and now with the Blue Jays, and this guy has always been a problem. Just a great player. You thought, well, someday he may win a most valuable player. It hasn't happened. He's had some injuries, some other little things, but the guy can flat out play. How about Mark Burley, a longtime American League guy, came over here last year, did a good job with the Marlins. He was part of that deal, so he goes north too, and he can be a very, very good pitcher. He'll fit right in. He'll give them innings. He can get guys out, throw a lot of ground balls, and this team is very, very different. Look at the money they're going to spend with guys like Burley. How about R.A. Dickey from the Mets, Cy Young Award winner. Josh Johnson, not the same guy, but still really, really good. Reyes, and then Melky Cabrera, who's had his own problems the last couple years with suspensions and some other things that occurred with him. But this guy, when he is healthy and everything's under control, he can play.
You add him to Jose Bautista, you add him to Edwin Encarnacion, you add him to Colby Rasmus. This is a pretty good lineup for the Blue Jays. Now, the Blue Jays are a team that traditionally the Phillies face during interleague play. It's a little different interleague schedule this year.
Yeah, it is a little bit strange. There's more interleague play this year for obvious reasons. Everybody knows the Phillies are going to open up this year with the Kansas City Royals at home. That's very strange to open with an American League team. Then you have a couple of home and homes, or road and home, however you want to look at it, with the Indians and then the Boston Red Sox, and the Phillies are going to go out to Minnesota where they were last year. The White Sox are going to come to town, and they're also going to be at Detroit. So it is a very different schedule, but you can see a lot of it involves the Central.
Now, it's different around baseball. It's not just the Phillies. It's everybody else in baseball that will have a similar schedule. So today, spring training baseball, the Phillies and the Toronto Blue Jays. How about the big piece, how he's swinging the bat so far this spring? His bat has been potent. We'll see him in the lineup when we return.
by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Miss Heather Lane Scott.
Here's Heather Lane Scott with today's national anthem and the Canadian national anthem at Bright House Field as we get set for baseball between the Phillies and the Toronto Blue Jays. It's a cool afternoon, as we mentioned before, certainly not what they're accustomed to this time of the year here in Central Florida, but it's nice to be out on a baseball field to take a look at the Phils and the Blue Jays. And a former Phil and a former Blue Jay throughout the first pitch today, Rob Ducey. And he threw a perfect pitch, as you would expect. Rob's in pretty good shape, it looks like, as he was part of the festivities prior to the start of this afternoon's ball game. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's Game 4. The Toronto Blue Jays, managed by John Gibbons. Leading it off at center field is Anthony Ghost, the former Phil prospect. Melky Cabrera is the DH. Jose Bautista's in right field batting third. Adam Lynn bats cleanup. Mark DeRosa is over third base hitting fifth. Rajai Davis, the left fielder, bats sixth. Bottom third of Bonifacio, Henry Blanco, and Nicer East Torres over from the LA Angels of Anaheim. And they'll face Phillies right-hander Aaron Cook, who is pitching here this afternoon while Kyle Kendrick pitches in Sarasota against the Baltimore Orioles. So this is a split squad day for the Phillies, where they have a group here and a group down in Sarasota. We'll keep you up to date on that ball game as this one moves on. So far, Cook, in 2 innings of work, has allowed 2 hits and no runs, and he has walked 1. And Wheels, he was part of what the offseason was about, getting some depth with the starting rotation.
Well, this is a veteran guy, Tom. I've seen him so many years with the Colorado Rockies. He did pitch up at Boston last year. Ground ball pitcher, sinker, slider. He's gone through a lot of physical problems, life-threatening physical problems with lungs, blood clots in his lungs, and some things that, you know, I didn't think, let alone that he would play baseball again. So you have to give him a lot of credit for what he's able to do. But when he keeps the ball down and gets his ground balls, he can be very effective.
Well, he'll throw at least 2 innings, if not 3 innings this afternoon. The Phillies are also scheduled to have Justin DeFreitas, Antonio Bastardo, J.C. Ramirez, and Joe Savory throw this afternoon against the Blue Jays, the same team the Phillies faced yesterday, and it was windy in Dunedin. In fact, there was one ball after another that shot up into the wind and out of the ballpark.
Well, just the opposite over here. When the wind is from the northwest and cold like it is, it blows out over there. Here, look at it, straight down US 19 from the left field corner to the right field corner. You hit one out to that area today, you have to hit a line drive P out of that area. Of course, that means it'll be 3 or 4. But I've seen enough games here when the wind's blowing like that. You usually don't get many home runs.
Well, you see the current conditions, 52 degrees. The wind's 14 miles an hour out of the north-northwest. Anthony Ghost leads it off for the Blue Jays. Ghost, a 22-year-old. And the first pitch of the day is taken upstairs, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Ghost is a former second-round pick of the Phillies in 2008.
He can run.
He can run and he can play pretty good defense out in the outfield, and this is going to be a tough play for Chase Utley no matter what. And you notice that Chase immediately went after it, because if it trickled too far, then Ghost could have thought about going for 2.
That's a hit off the bat. Once it gets by Cook, even if Chase Utley does everything right here, which he did, and he slipped a little bit, Anthony Gose is safe the way he can run.
I think Chase was thinking about grabbing it with his glove and then flipping it with his glove, and I don't know if he would have gotten him anyway.
Yeah, he knew he didn't have any time.
So a leadoff infield single that'll bring Melky Cabrera to the plate. Cabrera signed early by the Blue Jays to a 2-year contract during the offseason. Last year, for a good part of the season, was leading the National League in hitting as a member of the San Francisco Giants until he was suspended for 50 games. He was hitting .346 with 11 home runs.
Could have been a batting champion, could have been a world champion.
He could have been an MVP.
Could have been an MVP and blew it all.
First pitch outside, 1 ball and no strikes. There's obviously still conversations lingering about Melky Cabrera and a number of other players because of the medical clinic outside of Miami, where their names have surfaced on a list of possibly using additional banned substances. He shoots that one through the middle for a base hit. So back-to-back singles for the Blue Jays.
See, this is what happens with a guy like Aaron Cook. I haven't seen him so many times. He's going to throw his ground balls, and then he has to hope they're at people. Because if he throws ground balls and you get infield hits or tweeners like that, then he gets into trouble. Other times he'll throw them, they'll be at people, get his double plays.
Well, Aaron Cook is a lifetime 76 and 79 pitcher during his years with the Rockies mostly, and of course, as Wheels said, the Red Sox last year. His major league earned run average is 4.60. Facing Jose Bautista. And the first pitch in the dirt, 1 ball and no strikes.
I don't know even this guy could hit one out the left or left center today, as high as he hits them.
I wouldn't challenge him, though.
No. You don't want to find out necessarily, but they will get knocked down.
Bautista last year had a down year for him. 27 home runs and 65 runs batted in. He has 1 home run this spring, and it's the only hit he has so far. Little number up the first base line. He was swinging for that wind. Ryan Howard will take it to the bag. 1 away.
Well, he doesn't have any give in his swing. That's what he's turned into, a bail and whale home run hitter.
That's the style that was taught to Bautista by Dwayne Murphy, who is the first base coach currently for the Toronto Blue Jays. Murphy was the hitting coach for the Jays. There he is. And a lot of the players, Edwin Encarnacion, as well as Jose Bautista, credit Dwayne Murphy with kind of turning around their careers and making them the power hitters that they are right now. With 1 out, Adam Lind is the hitter. Runners on second and third. Just underway here in Clearwater. Jays are 5-4 on the spring. The Phillies are 3-4-1. Phillies have played the infield back with runners on second and third. Fly ball left field. Playable for Darren Ruff. This should be deep enough to score the run. It will be. Ruff's throw comes to third and not in time. Cabrera slides in safely. Gose scores easily. And it's 1-0 Toronto.
So what an adventure that ball was out there to Darren Ruff. It probably looked like a parachute to him at the end, the way it was coming down. Here's a look at it. Now, earlier in the week in the games we played here, that ball's hit pretty well. It would go to left field and deep. In this case, it's getting knocked down the whole time. But a good job by Lynn to get the ball in the air and get the run in for them.
2 outs here in the first. Just 7 pitches for Aaron Cook. He is a contact guy. And now facing Mark DeRosa. DeRosa chops one toward the middle. Betancourt makes a nice play across his body in time. That is a fine play by Yuniesky Betancourt to retire the Blue Jays. The Jays do get a run, and they leave one over at third. Bottom of the first inning here in Clearwater. Blue Jays on top 1-0 over the Phillies. Let's take a look at the Phillies starting lineup for this afternoon's ball game. A little different than what we're used to. Yuniesky Betancourt leads it off at shortstop. Kevin Friends at bat second. He's over third. Chase Utley hits third, followed by Ryan Howard and Darren Ruff. Dominic Brown's had a good spring. He's in right field batting sixth. Eric Kratz is the catcher hitting seventh. Tommy Joseph is the DH today. He'll bat eighth. And batting ninth and playing center field is Ender Inciarte. And they'll face left-hander Ricky Romero, who strangely is listed as the number 5 starter for the Toronto Blue Jays. He's been battling some knee problems the last couple of years. And you see his numbers this spring in just one outing.
This guy's an opening day pitcher for them at one time. And as you said, Tom, now listed as their number 5, mainly because of the things they were able to do in the offseason by bringing Burley and Josh Johnson and R.A. Dickey. And Phillies have seen a lot of him down here and during the regular season interleague play. Him never had much luck with him. Real good changeup.
He's throwing a lot more changeups, or is planning on throwing even more changeups in 2013.
That's hard to believe. That seemed like all he threw before.
Yuniesky Betancourt leads it off. Betancourt's 3 for 9 so far in the spring. And he hits that one to shortstop. Big hop for Bonifacio. One away here in the bottom of the first. Bonifacio playing shortstop because Jose Reyes has left for World Baseball Classic camp with the Dominican Republic. In fact, we'll see him on Tuesday here at Bright House Field as the Dominican Republic will be in town for an exhibition game.
Now, Juan Samuel is going to be a coach for that team, and he's coaching third for the Phillies today. But he only has to drive down to St. Pete. That won't take a long time.
It's not bad. Kevin Franzen, the batter. Franzen 6 for 18 this spring. He's had a decent spring, which is a good thing for Kevin because there have been springs, as he will tell you, where he has struggled out of the chute. Has a home run and a couple of runs batted in.
Well, he's in that area where he needs to impress some people too. You know, he has a heck of a chance to make the ball club, I would think, off last year, but there's nothing guaranteed, and he knows that.
Change up for a strike, and it's 1-2 to Franzen.
His versatility really helps him.
Yeah, this spring he's played first for Charlie Manuel. He's played second. He's played third. He can play short.
Second, probably his best position.
Fouls it away, and it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. By the way, down in Sarasota, the Orioles have taken a 3-0 lead over the Phillies in the bottom of the first. Kyle Kendrick is starting that ball game for the Phillies. Again, we'll keep you up to date on that game as it goes on. The reason we'll keep you up to date is because there are some of the everyday regulars who are in the lineup down in Sarasota. Michael Young, Ben Revere, both are playing in Sarasota. Carlos Ruiz is catching down at Sarasota.
Technically, you're supposed to have 4 regulars if you can go on the road, and right there, those 4 guys you mentioned would all be considered regulars, counting Kyle.
To right field. This is going to be a challenge for Bautista. Back to the wall, and it's over his head, and it takes a hop off the wall. Franzen's on his way to third, and he should get there. This is a heck of a throw, though, by Bautista, and if the relay was better by Bonifacio, they may have had him.
Yeah, they would have had it. That's where the
jet throw by Bautista.
Yeah, he airmailed everybody. I think it was going to be a very good throw because he did everything wrong on it. But there was still somebody to cut it off finally and then throw over to third base. That's where the jet stream is going to be, in the right field line, down the right field corner. And what he just picks this up and lets it go, and it's over everything. And there's Bonifacio. He goes over and gets it, and then he tries to kind of goose it over to third instead of throwing it. And as a result, he threw it straight into the ground, or he'd have been out.
Well, instead, Franzen gets a triple. And here is Chase Utley, and Utley takes low. 1 ball and no strikes. Utley 3 for 9 so far in the spring. They play the infield back, the Jays, with a 1-0 lead. That ball gets away from Henry Blanco, and Franzen reads it. The throw is high to Romero, and Franzen slides in safely. Let's hope his hand is okay, because he slid in head first, and the knee of Romero was in the neighborhood.
Blanco had no idea where that was, but he's trying to pretend like he did. And Franson read it, as you said. Watch Blanco right here. He doesn't know where this thing is. See right here? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, it's behind me. As Romero told him. Then he goes and gets it. And Kevin scores with a slide. Well, that's so dangerous when you come in like that. Although there's a pitcher there as opposed to a catcher. Shin guard's waiting for you.
So it's a 1-1 game. The count is 2 balls and no strikes to Chase Utley.
Normally, when those guys will come in feet first, when there's a pitcher there, he don't want any party. When you come in head first, you know, it's a little easier to put your body down there and block the home plate without the equipment, even if you're a pitcher. Pitchers see those spikes coming, they're gone. And rightly so.
Ball 4. Utley draws a walk. And that'll bring Ryan Howard to the plate. No one has had a busier spring training than Ryan Howard.
He needed the work, and he's getting it.
Well, he's 9 for 21 so far with 2 home runs and 7 runs batted in.
Good day for the left-handed hitters to pull.
The other thing about Ryan's numbers, Wheels, is that he was 0 for 3 last Saturday in the opener. And
right.
Since that time, he's 9 for 18.
All kinds of hits, too. All over the place.
Overshift on the right side. And he rips it to the right side. Caught out of the air by DeRosa. And they'll double up Utley. And the side is retired. Phillies do get a run. A triple and a wild pitch. Scores Franzen. And we go to the second. Top of the second, tied at 1 here at Bright House Field. There's Chris Mudd, who's the athletic trainer for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. He's in the corner. Scott Sheridan walking with the cup in his hand, the Phillies athletic trainer. Rajai Davis will lead it off here in the top of the second against Aaron Cook. And Cook throws a strike. Cook threw 8 pitches in the first inning, gave up a run. Davis overall hitting .273 this spring. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Seen a lot of this guy over the last few years. He's a good player. Can do a lot. Has a little bit of power. Can run. Plays the outfield very well. Has a lot of energy. I think he'd be a terrific extra man.
Well, I think that's what he's going to be this year with the outfield pretty much set as Howard picks that throw by Kevin Franzen. And 1 gone for Emilio Bonifacio. Time to catch up with Greg Murphy. Murph?
All right, thank you very much, guys. As you were talking about, the World Baseball Classic is underway in Major League Baseball, which means that a couple of the players from the Phillies, as well as all over Major League Baseball, have left their clubs to participate for their countries. Here's a list of some of the guys from the Phillies that are participating. Of course, Jay Roll will be playing for the United States. 5 guys playing for Team Canada. You saw right there, including Pete Orr. In all, 6 countries represented for the Phil's players. And as you mentioned, Juan Samuel will also be one of the coaches for the Dominican Republic. And, guys, we're going to see that game here, Dominican Republic versus the Phillies, coming up on Tuesday. And it's a game, of course, you can watch on Comcast Sportsnet as well. So we hope folks will tune in for that. Should be a lot of fun.
Should be a lot of fun. In fact, most of the players have left. Pete Orr, who's part of that Team Canada roster, will leave after this ball game. He took batting practice today. His manager, of course, will be Ernie Witt. And they'll be heading out to Arizona, where they're in the same pod as the United States. Team Canada is. The World Baseball Classic is already underway. Brazil lost to Cuba earlier today. So Brazil is 0-2. In fact, Brazil was leading. They were leading Japan in their first ball game until the 8th inning, when Japan, the defending champions, came from behind to win that one. Here's Henry Blanco with one out here in the second. Another throw over, and Bonifacio just gets back ahead of the tag of Ryan Howard.
Cook always had a really good move. In fact, he did a very good job coming off the mound on that bunt and then slip. You know how quick his feet are? And a quick tag there by Ryan Howard. Almost had Bonifacio, can fly.
Blue Jays have a ton of catchers in camp. They acquired 2 catchers from the New York Mets because both those guys are used to catching R.A. Dickey. And then they have J.P. Arancibia, who's going to be the catcher for the United States in the World Baseball Classic. So they have Tolly and Nikias, who they acquired from the New York Mets. Plus, they have Henry Blanco to go along with J.P. Arancibia. Runner goes, pitch is taken inside. The throw by Kratz, it's dropped by Utley. And Bonifacio is going to be safe at second.
And he's out if he holds on. That Chase Utley's trying to make a quick tag, catch it and tag him at the same time, didn't catch the ball. Really good throw by Kratz as he can from his knees. See Bonifacio how fast he is. Chase has it in his glove, doesn't hold on, and then it pops out. Stolen base.
Boy, that was a great throw.
Oh, he has him right there. No doubt he's out by a lot, considering how quick he is.
Bonifacio goes again. Pitch is taken inside. The throw sails into left field. Bonifacio doesn't realize it right away. He's coming to the plate and will score. It'll be a stolen base, second steal of the inning for Bonifacio, and then the E2 gives the Blue Jays the lead again.
Show you the speed can do. Looked like Kratz got all baseball that time and no seams. When you see a throw go like that, Bonifacio goes in head first. He don't know where the ball is. That's DeMarlo Hale down there, right?
No, he's in the dugout.
All right. Whoever the third base coach is, he told him to get up.
I think that's Luis Rivera.
Okay. But when you see a guy throw a ball like that, a major league player, 9 times out of 10 they reach in real quickly. They don't get any seams. And there it goes. Try and throw a baseball without grabbing the seams, and that's what will happen.
Henry Blanco shoots it down the right field line. That'll drop for a hit. He's on his way to second. Dominic Brown. And his throw is a little late, so it'll be a double for Blanco. That looked like a double right off the bat.
You watch how quickly he goes in to take this out. Now, see if you can even see what happened. I can't tell. But when it comes, see the way that thing came out, it looks like he's looking at his hand. It looked like he had all baseball and no seams.
Here's Myceres Torres, who the Blue Jays signed as a free agent this offseason. With a runner at second, 2-1 Toronto. And the first pitch over for a strike. It's 0-1.
One thing with infielders, you see them all the time when they have time. They'll look in their glove, and then you see them literally move the ball around a little bit, and they're trying to find it. So they throw a nice little four-seamer over there. He's always like he's throwing a knuckleball. See, he's got 3 fingers on it too, and that's like a changeup grip. He knew he had to hurry with a guy like Bonifacio, so Eric just reached in there and grabbed what he could, and he didn't get enough.
And Ciarte comes trotting in to make the catch on that fly ball. I think the other thing, too, Wheels, is he was trying to avoid the bat of Henry Blanco, too. Who, Blanco does not have to move. He can stay right where he is.
That's why it's always easier for a guy to steal third with a right-handed hitter in there than a left-handed hitter with a clear shot. Just ask him when we see him, you know what happened with that. Because he has such a strong arm. When you see that bar of soap he threw, you knew something went wrong.
Anthony Gose reached on an infield single his first time up, so he's 1 for 1. It's one the opposite way. This will be a tough play. Betancourt gets to it quickly, throws Sales off the glove of Howard, and another run will score. That'll be the second error of the inning for the Phillies. And it's now 3-1 Toronto.
Yeah, they're really sloppy in this inning. It's a shame because Cook deserves a much better fate here. Betancourt is known as a defensive shortstop. He knows Gose can fly, so he hurried himself on that play, and the ball sails on Howard and he can't handle it.
I think that'll be an error all the way. I don't think they'll give a hit and an error. I think it's going to be a straight error.
And you think of the play at second base too, which was not scored an error, so they've had 3 misplays in this inning. And those are the kind of things that the manager just shake your head. Can't have that.
Melky Cabrera singled his first time up. He's 1 for 1. Jays now with 3 runs on 4 hits, 2 runs in this inning.
The ball could feel a little bit slippery today, though, because it's cold. Not used to this.
Opposite way on 1 hop. Betancourt's there. Easy flip to second, and the side is retired. Jays, though, get a couple on a couple errors by the Phils. Wheels, forget about the Osprey. That is an eagle that's up here in Clearwater.
Yeah, there's been a couple of them out there up in their own little houses.
Wow.
And they are just gorgeous. You think how big they are. When you stand on the ground and look up, you can see them, and you think how big they must be.
That is America's bird right there.
And they're in a cell tower.
That's a gorgeous sight. We go to the bottom of the second. The Phillies down 3-1. And Darren Ruff will lead it off. It'll be Ruff, Dominic Brown, and Eric Kratz against Ricky Romero. Darren Ruff so far this spring 3 for 16. Hitting 188, no home runs, 2 runs batted in. Cracks that one at the plate. 0-2 the count. Next 2 guys have been kind of interesting this camp for the Phillies. Darren Ruff and Dominic Brown. Both came in looking to win a spot on this roster, to win a spot in the outfield for the Phillies. For Dominic Brown, he's kind of used to being in spring training, and he's playing like a guy that's been used to being in spring training. Wouldn't you agree, Wheels?
Yes. He just seems like a different guy this spring. He's much more relaxed. and knock on wood, he's been healthy, and that's so big.
0-2 the count. And it's low, 1-2. Sitting behind the cage today during batting practice with Charlie Manuel. There were a couple swings that Darren Ruff put together that Charlie really liked when he was shooting the ball with power the opposite way.
Do that today, you have a chance for it to really take off.
Hey, Miller Lite, Bud Light, soda here.
Well, Charlie's been positive when it comes to Darren Ruff. You know, he likes his ability to hit. And I think he feels like, given time, he could play the outfield. But it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
2-2 the count to Darren Ruff. He fouls it away to stay alive. It remains 2-2. Swing and a miss at a breaking ball. First strikeout for Ricky Romero. Phillies will open up the home schedule at Citizens Bank Park with a 3-game series against the Kansas City Royals. We showed you that graphic during our open today. The Phillies interleague schedule. It wraps up on Sunday the 7th at 1:35 when the Phillies fans will receive the wiffle ball set for fans 14 and under. Compliments of IBEW Local 98. And don't forget Saturday the 6th, the Rollins replica Gold Glove Trophy. Again, that's for fans 14 and under. It's Turkey Hill Kids opening night. Get your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Dominic Brown takes a strike. Dominic 6 for 19 so far this spring. That one's in the air to right center field. Bautista is out there making the call. There are 2 outs.
He'll be able to get away with a lot of stuff in the air today. The pitchers, that has not been the norm in spring training so far this year. With the flags blowing as hard as they are in from the northwest.
Swing and a miss there at Kratz. Kratz 1 for 8 this spring. Mentioned he's catching here today, and Carlos Ruiz is down in Sarasota catching Kyle Kenrick, who gave up 2 home runs in the first inning. The one to Matt Wieters that gave the Orioles a 3-0 lead, and another one to Connor Jackson, who went back-to-back with Wieters.
So it's blowing out down there.
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, it just depends on how the park is situated.
Tomorrow the Phillies will be in Bradenton to take on the Pirates. The wind is usually blowing out there.
And when it's hot. Tomorrow's going to be kind of a tweener day. It's going to turn into Florida at some point tomorrow.
Outside and high, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kratz. Mentioned that Ricky Romero is going to be the 5th starter for the Blue Jays. I guess that doesn't really mean a whole lot, particularly when you have the rotation that Blue Jays project to have, with Josh Johnson as the number 4 starter.
Well, last year they had so many guys get hurt. We saw it happen up there. I'm trying to think who the right-hander was, got hurt in the first inning last year, hurt his arm. And they had just lost Draybeck before that. And that was one of their problems last year with their starting pitching. They just couldn't keep it together.
R.A. Dickey will be the opening day starter for the Blue Jays. Brandon Morrow, who's had himself a pretty good turnaround with Toronto as a starting pitcher. That ball's hit to right field, playable for Bautista. Not that deep. And the Phillies go down 1-2-3 here in the second. We're through 2 in Clearwater with the Jays on top 3-1. Monday, April 8th, the Phillies will begin a 3-game series against the New York Mets. All fans 15 and over coming to the Monday game will receive the McDonald's opening week T-shirt. Then Tuesday the 9th is the first of many Hatfield Dollar Dog Nights at the ballpark. Order your tickets now by heading to Phillies.com. Aaron Cook getting set to begin his 3rd inning of work. Most of the starters at this point, whether it be their second outing of the spring, or from a relief pitcher standpoint, their 3rd or even their 4th outings, they're going deeper into games. For the starters, they're going at least 3 innings or at least starting the 3rd inning. And depending on how well they're pitching will dictate whether they finish off the 3rd or if they're lifted during the inning itself. Jose Bautista leads it off for the Blue Jays, and he takes low. It's 1-0.
Cook has a good sinker today. He's been throwing his ground balls, and he gave up that run in the 1st inning. The 2nd inning, they just didn't help him much defensively.
Yeah, of the balls that have been put in play, 7 have been on the ground.
Well, that's his game. He's going to throw slider, 2, and a little changeup, but for the most part, he's going to sink his fastball.
There's the slider, and it's 1-2. He signed a split contract with the Phillies, which means he'll make a certain amount of money if he's in the big leagues and a certain amount of money if he's back in the minor leagues. A little low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. That ball is hit a ton. You want to know if the ball can get through the wind or not? That one may be the ball that gets through the wind, and it does. A solo shot for Bautista. It doesn't matter how strong the wind is here today. It's 4-1 Blue Jays.
They're even over their bench coat. Are you kidding me? You talk about one that would have gone over everything, like Cabrera.
Yeah, that would have rivaled Cabrera's home run.
My goodness. It was so high, too. Look at them laughing about it. Like, we're going to hit a home run out there today. Pitches up in the zone, and he just wails and got it up. The wind was trying to knock it down. Took it from about 420 to maybe 340.
Adam Lind takes outside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Lind had a sacrifice fly his first time up. Ball the opposite way out toward Greg Murphy, and it's a fair ball, and it's going to kick into the corner. I think Darren Ruff put his hands up because there's a walkway that takes the players into the clubhouse down there, and it may have gotten into that doorway and then kicked back out. So it'll be a double for Adam Lind.
That's a sinker. Kind of ran a little bit, and it was up in the zone, and he just hits it down the left field line. Good piece of hitting, and there's where Tom says it hits right there.
Okay, it hit the railing of the picnic area, and then I think it went toward the doorway.
Didn't hit Frank, did it?
It didn't hit Frank, and Murph ducked.
Yeah.
Murph ducked because it was in play. I think if it was a foul ball, he would have taken it on a hop.
Right.
I'm speaking on your behalf, Murph, that if it was a foul ball and you realized it, that you would have made a play on that one.
Actually,
no, we had Murph for a second, and we lost him.
Still trying to get out of the way of that ball.
2-0 the count to Mark DeRosa. And a strike on the inside corner, 2-1. DeRosa grounded out to shortstop his first time up. This one back toward the middle, a base hit into center field. They're going to hold Lind, and it gets past Enciarte. He didn't realize where it was. But it'll just remain a single for DeRosa. Runners on first and third.
He just overran it. He already gotten the stop sign at third base where he scores easily here. Ball's hit hard through the middle. Here comes Ciarte trying to make the play, and then he kicks off the heel of the glove. And they'd already held the runner at third with 1 out. And he's trying to find it.
Boy, that ball didn't take one hop on its way out to center field. Talk about being perfectly manicured out there. Here's Rajai Davis with runners on first and third. Davis grounded out his first time up. Fly ball, shallow center field. Enciarte coming in. Lind won't tag from third. And there's one away.
Yeah, there was nobody out at the time. Now the first down. That was another reason why they held him at third. And of course on the fly ball with the first out of the inning, got to make sure.
Shortstop, Bonifacio.
That'll bring Bonifacio to the plate. He reached on a bunt single his first time up, and then stole a couple bases and scored. Bonifacio batting seventh for the Blue Jays. Bonifacio could be the opening day second baseman. He could be a utility guy, which is, what he did best in his prior years with the Miami Marlins. He should play center field.
Start his career with Arizona. Saw him in a game one night at Citizens Bank Park. That may be the fastest player in baseball that night. And he slowed down a little bit because of his leg injuries, but he can still fly.
To left field, Darren Ruff is out there. They're going to have Lynn tag. So Ruff under it, makes the catch. The throw coming to the plate on one hop, and he is out at the plate. So Adam Lynn taking a chance, challenging the arm of Darren Ruff, and Ruff throws a one-hop strike to Eric Kratz. The inning comes to a close. The Jays tack on one more. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. And by Toyota. Let's go places. 4-1 Phillies down by 3 against the Blue Jays as we go to the bottom of the third. Darren Ruff getting a chance to play out in left field again today. He's had a number of chances, and this is the best throw we've seen this spring from him, Wheels.
Well, he did a good job, Tom. He got behind it, and Lind, of course, doesn't run very well, and he was able to make a good throw, as you said, and a nice plate block there, too, by Eric Kratz. So that makes him feel good, I would think, to be able to throw a guy out at the plate like that.
They've talked about Darren Ruff going back on balls and also whether his arm would be good enough, strong enough to play left field. And that particular play is exactly what Charlie Manuel and Ruben Amaro talked about to us prior to spring training, just getting behind the throw and being able to get something on it.
Well, it's all position. It's easier said than done on whether the ball, whether you're comfortable being able to drift a little bit, get behind, and then come forward. He did everything perfectly that time, and as a result, he made a strong throw.
Tommy Joseph will lead it off. The new pitcher for the Blue Jays is right-hander Sergio Santos, who missed almost all of last year. Hard-throwing right-hander who had shoulder problems a season ago. He was supposed to be the closer for the Blue Jays last year, and they hope he'll be the closer again in 2013. former shortstop. And you can see, even without the radar gun, that the ball is leaving his hand at a pretty good pace.
Yeah, they say he can fire.
See his numbers from last year. He pitched on opening day and then added a few more starts before he was placed on the 15-day disabled list and eventually placed on the 60-day DL. 1-1 the count to Tommy Joseph. And Joseph takes a strike. It's 1-2.
Yeah, you see his reaction after he just threw that thing. He just put his hand on his hip like, uh-oh, that was a hanging breaking ball middle in, and he got away with it. It was supposed to be a slider away. Maybe strike him out with it.
Santos was originally part of the White Sox organization where he was a shortstop, then eventually a relief pitcher. And there's a slider, and Joseph down on strikes. Blanco will make the throw over to first, and one away.
That was a better one. The difference between the one before that he didn't get where he wanted, and this one he gets away and he gets it down, and a hitter with a couple of strikes on him, very defensive, and they will chase that.
Oh, one away, and it brings Ender Inciarte to the plate. Inciarte so far 1 for 3 in spring games with the Phillies, getting a chance to start this afternoon. Shows bunt, takes a strike. It's 0-1. Wheels, whatever shoulder problems Santos had last year, it doesn't look like he's got any shoulder problems right now.
Coming out real easy.
Looper out to left center field. That'll drop for a base hit. Second hit of the day for the Phillies. And we'll go back to the top of the order for Betancourt. There's no better way to celebrate the start of a new baseball season than with tickets for opening day. And the easiest way to get tickets for the Modell Sporting Goods home opener is by considering an opening day 6-game pack. Order now at Phillies.com and plan to wave your Modell Sporting Goods rally towel when the Phillies host the Royals Friday, April 5th at 4:05. Inciarte with very good speed leads off first with Betancourt at the plate, and the Phillies down 3, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Betancourt grounded out to Bonifacio over at shortstop his first time up, so he's 0 for 1. There goes Inciarte. Pitches high. Blanco with a quick release on one hop, and he's safe at second base. The ball was dropped by Myceres Torres.
He got banged up a little bit too with those head first slides. Got a pretty decent jump there. Blanco's always been a real good defensive catcher. On one hop, that looks like if that's held too, he's going to be out. I think he may have either hurt his neck or slammed his head in there a little bit. See the head down and there, yep, right into his knee. And that's those head first slides, and guys like to do it. And you can really get hurt on those, especially when that infielder does what he does, straddles the bag and gives you nowhere to slide except right into his knee.
Now Scott Sheridan is out to check on Inciarte. Juan Samuel is also over from the third base coach's box.
Infielders have less of a tendency to do that stuff when you're coming in feet first. They're not going to put those knees down. They're not going to block the bag as much. You come in head first, they have an advantage. But guys slide head first, and they just the way they do it.
Well, that was real speed right there to see how fast he went in at Myceres Torres. First the glove, then the knee. 2-0 the count to Yuniesky Betancourt. And Betancourt pops it up. This should find the seats. Blanco will give it a look. And it does. Gentleman in the first row right behind the net. didn't even have to move, and that ball bounced right in his lap.
Yeah, there's a guy down below us in a green hat. He had a good shot at it, but it went right through his hands. Tough day to catch a foul ball. It's way up in the air like that. It sting a little bit.
From a distance, I think we were all looking at what was going on in Arizona last week and kind of chuckling a little bit when it was really cold out there and it snowed when one of the golf tournaments had to be halted in the middle.
Retribution was swift.
2-2 the count to Betancourt.
Just today. By tomorrow, it's going to start to be a lot better down here. What people expect when they come down here on vacation. So if you're coming down here next weekend for spring training, it's going to be beautiful.
You're going to certify that?
No. But the weathermen say that.
We should put a green screen in the back and have you go through the 5-day forecast for everyone.
No.
Just an added bonus to the telecast.
No, that'd just be another thing to say, well, he's wrong. Look at them bundled. Look at people bundled up.
Line drive, base hit it to left field. Enciarte is being waved home by Juan Samuel. The throw by Davis is not in time. An RBI for Betancourt. And the Phillies have cut this lead to 2. It's 4-2 here in the third. Fourth hit of the spring for Yuniesky Betancourt.
Yeah, he's a wild swinger, Betancourt. He doesn't take a whole lot of pitches. He's going to swing. He got a high fastball there and smokes this ball. So the stolen base gets the Phillies a run. Catcher did a nice job there, Blanco. You see how he came up and got the ball, and that stops Betancourt at first base, even with the overthrow of the cutoff man.
Well, it's 4-2 here in Clearwater. It's also 4-2 down in Sarasota as Michael Young has hit a 2-run home run for the Phillies that scored Lance Nix. So identical scores and identical deficits for the Phillies here in spring training.
A couple of comebacks today. They'll be in order.
Kevin Franzen tripled his first time up and scored the other run for the Phillies. 1 ball, no strikes the count.
Yep, there's a hitter. You're probably just sitting on fastballs with this guy, trying to get out a little quicker. And that's a decent breaking ball he just threw Kevin.
Ground ball to shortstop. Bonifacio's throw goes right on by Maizeri's Torres.
Ugly.
What did Whitey used to say? This is not a Spalding
guy game, boys. They're playing like they have never played on with their fingers called.
How about that? Betancourt just lingered off the third base bag, and they were able to tag him out. Santos tagged him out, and that just adds to the Spalding guide game.
It's just ugly right now.
Put out goes to the pitcher. Watch what happens here.
Yeah, now this is an error, obviously, on the shortstop here, throwing it away. Betancourt's going to go to third.
Well, the throw just comes in. They're looking around. And then Santos is over at third base. He was backing up, and Betancourt, he just took a casual turn around the third base bag, and Santos just snuck in behind him.
Yeah. Juan Samuel didn't see him either till the last minute. That was a good job by the pitcher, really. He was in the right place backing up the bag, and then he comes in behind him. But, can't let that happen.
So now a runner at first with 2 outs. Chase Utley's the batter. And it's 1 ball and no strikes the count to Utley.
What was that, 9-4-1?
I believe 9-4-1. I believe it was East Torres who the throw came into, and it was DeRosa, the third baseman, that was around the mound. But I believe 9-4-1.
See that all the time.
can understand what Betancourt was doing. He was, trying to tease them a little bit by coming down the third base line.
You got to count the players, though. What? Somebody's missing. Where is? Oh, he's behind me.
Outside, 3-0 to Utley. And Blanco goes out to the mound to talk to Santos. There's Ryan Howard in the on-deck circle. A 20-pitch inning right now for Sergio Santos. He figured he was going to be one and done anyway for the Blue Jays. And ball 4, so Utley walks for the second time, and it brings Howard to the plate with a tying runs aboard. Here in the third, Pete Walker, the pitching coach for the Blue Jays, going out to talk to Santos. Aaron Loup, the left-hander, is warming up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. So they have a meeting on the mound. We'll remind you that partial season ticket plans are currently available. 17 and 14 game ticket plans are available to purchase at Phillies.com. All plans feature great benefits, including ticket discounts and postseason options. It's a great way to enjoy Phillies baseball and terrific promotions throughout the season. So they'll keep Santos in to face Howard. Howard lined out his first time up. He lined out to DeRosa, who was over on the right side as part of the shift for the Blue Jays. But here they'll keep it as traditional as you would expect, with runners on first and second and 2 outs.
Yeah, they're just not going to open up third base even with 2 outs for him to just walk over there. At least that's what they decided.
They start him off with a breaking pitch. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Howard homered yesterday against the Blue Jays in Dunedin. The ball slipped right under the scoreboard in left center field. Pretty good poke.
Hey, come here, water.
I have to say, Wheels, he is turning on those inside pitches more often.
Remember, we brought that up the other day. It was very noticeable that he's a little closer to the plate and that he's handling this a little bit better. In that when it's coming in on him a little bit, he's not jammed, or he's not afraid to get jammed, I think, as much as anything. So he can turn on that, and he fires balls down the first baseline. They get on the first baseman really fast.
There's a little cheese right there. That's power on power.
Yeah, that was up.
And it's 1-2.
Santos just beat him with that fastball.
By the way, Kyle Kendrick's afternoon is done down in Sarasota. Kyle went 2 innings, allowed 4 runs on 4 base hits. He allowed the 2 home runs, a 3-run shot to Matt Wieters and a solo shot to Connor Jackson.
Royals have a pretty good lineup. They showed that last year.
Zach Minor's in the ball game for Kendrick down in Sarasota. Now the 2-2 pitch coming to Ryan Howard. Well, he got a breaking pitch, and it was up in the zone, and he fouled it away. There's Darren Ruff. He checked his swing, but he went around, says Phil Cuzzy, on a breaking ball. And the side is retired. Phillies do get one back. We've played 3. Jays 4. Phillies 2. Saturday, April 6th, with the Phillies take on the Kansas City Royals at 7:05. It's Turkey Hill Kids Open. Fans 14 and under will receive the Jimmy Rollins replica Gold Glove Trophy. Compliments of Turkey Hill. Make plans now. Order your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Now we've played 3 here in Clearwater. And as we go to the 4th, Phillies down 4-2. It has not been, Sarge, a crisp game so far. Been a lot of mistakes going on, not only on the field, on the infield, but also on the base paths.
Yeah, a lot of mental mistakes. You got to be in that game all 9 innings when you're in there. Now, that's just something, though, that just shouldn't happen. Even in spring training, you got to keep your eye on that ball until the pitcher's on the mound.
Chase Utley makes the call in shallow right field and makes the catch on the second pitch thrown by Aaron Cook here in the 4th.
Be quite frank, I thought Chase Utley should have made the play. Quick tag.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they didn't give an error to that one. It turned out to be a stolen base for Bonifacio. But Betancourt's made a base running error today. He's also made a throwing error. As Maisariz Torres takes the first pitch inside, 1 ball and no strikes.
Yeah, and I say those things shouldn't happen, especially when you go to a new club, because you're trying to impress the management. Kind of takes away from it a little bit.
Off the hands, Franzen behind the mound and makes the catch. Ball carried him all the way out towards second base.
Sure did. No one else wanted it.
And 2 away.
Aaron hasn't pitched too bad, getting ground balls, you know, around the plate. That's the type of pitcher he is.
Ghost takes a strike. It's 0-1. Well, his line is going to be kind of skewed. He's given up 7 hits, obviously, and 4 runs, but there have been a couple of innings where he should have been out of the innings without any runs crossing the plate.
No doubt.
At the knees, 0-2 the count to Anthony Ghost, who was 1 for 2. Reached on an infield single in the first and scored. Then reached on an error by Betancourt in the second. And a called strike 3. This was a clean inning for Aaron Cook. 1, 2, 3 go the Blue Jays. Cook and the Phillies are through 3.5. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Philadelphia Phillies. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning here in Clearwater. Blue Jays on top 4-2. Phillies with 3 hits so far. They scored a run in the first, 1 more in the third. And our third pitcher for Toronto as we begin the fourth. Ricky Romero went the first 2, then Sergio Santos. And now left-hander Aaron Loup, who's pitching in his 3rd ball game. Loup has pitched 2 scoreless innings so far. And he will face Darren Ruff, Dominic Brown, and Eric Kratz. Ruff struck out his first time up, so he's 0 for 1. Now the first pitch fastball is over at the knees. It's no balls and 1 strike. Sarge, I know it's spring training and it doesn't matter who's out there. You still got to get your at-bats and you got to be able to be sound at the plate. But for some of these guys, they've never seen any of these pitchers before, and they're going up there the first time thinking, what the heck does this guy throw?
Yeah, some can be a little bit anxious. And again, when you're trying to make a ball club, I mean, you really don't care who's on the mound. A little late on that fastball. I think Darren's pressing just a little bit. And what happens with that is a rookie, too. You're trying to make the club. You know, you want results. Results mean hits. Then you look at some of the other players, and they're hitting the ball. You want to try and get right with them. I still like the way that he hits. The year he had in Double-A and going to Venezuela. It's just a matter of time.
Two balls and 2 strikes the count to Ruff. He fought that one off, and it's foul off his foot.
And that's what happens when you have an open stance. If you're not really quiet, that ball can get right in on your hands. Darren doing a good job in fouling that ball off and keeping it alive. Slower your feet, the quicker your hands will be.
Over toward the left side, Mark DeRosa with an easy hop. Darren Ruff is retired, 1 away. Dominic Brown is coming up, and for more on Dominic Brown, let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph?
All right, T-Mac. Well, you know, you and Wheels had been talking about earlier in the game about the confidence level of Dominic Brown. And, you know, he had some interesting comments, and I talked to him about it a couple days ago. When he first got down to camp, he said, you know, they told him it was a sink or swim kind of year. And he really kind of appreciated that. He wants that kind of pressure. He knows, he said, at this point, if I don't succeed, well, then, you know, it's on me. And that's the way he thinks about this season. And he does. He's carrying himself like a player that knows he belongs here. And so far, so good, obviously, with what he's been able to do at the plate, guys.
I think not only at the plate, Murph, but I think he's looked more comfortable. And Sarge, you could probably speak about this more. I think he's looked more comfortable in the outfield, too.
Yeah, well, those hits will make you feel a lot more comfortable. And, you know, he has a lot of confidence when he's at the plate. And to be quite honest, if his offense takes off the way that it should, you're not going to even think about his defense. But he is an offensive player, and he just needs to show it. It's his time.
That ball's hit well to right field, and it's not coming back. That's going to be a long home run for Dominic Brown. He's going alligator hunting with that one. And the Phillies have cut the lead to 1, 4-3.
Now, you want to get noticed, and you'll know Charlie, he loves a left-hander to be able to drive the ball. He actually changed his hands a little bit, that grip up at the top. Saw Wally Joyner and also Steve Henderson talking about it. And what that has done, it's made him a little bit quicker. And he was already kind of quick. Take a look at it. He's setting his hands right in a hitting position. Now, how quiet is his feet? We talked about that ball right over the plate. That's what you call back-legging as that ball goes out a long way.
Well, that's the 3rd home run now for Dominic Brown and 4 RBIs so far this spring. But all of this, I mean, just everything he's done. Look how comfortable he looks at the plates. It's not an easy left-hander that he's facing either.
Not only that, though, he's letting the ball travel. Therefore, he's able to see the ball, then he's able to attack it.
High chopper toward the middle. Bonifacio will have plenty of time to throw out Kratz. Yeah, there are 2 outs. Dominic Brown just chatting with Steve Henderson, the Phillies' new hitting coach, and Sarge talked about Steve Henderson and Wally Joyner talking about Dominic Brown and what he needs to do. And Dominic has really given a lot of credit for what he's done this spring to Wally Joyner and the conversations they've had. You know, Wally was a very good left-handed hitter, a little different hitter than Dominic Brown, but a very good left-handed hitter. And, you know, they seem to have hit it off with what their theories are.
Well, and then again, and most of the theories are just about the same, whether or not it's coming from Henderson or Mike Schmidt or even Charlie. It's basically the same. You want to have a healthy cut. You want to make sure that you stay on the fastball, and everything else will come into play. You know, guys like Dominic, when they're at the plate, they want that pitcher to fear him. That's how you end up getting better pitches. Pitcher fears you, he'll make mistakes.
Tommy Joseph sends this one the opposite way. That's going to roll all the way down toward the corner. And Joseph will pull into second with a 2-out double. That's his second hit of the spring. He's now 2 for 6 here in big league camp.
Early on, how about this? Just covering the plate. You know, inside out type of swing, but I like how his head is down on the ball as he drives the ball to right field. You give yourself a chance when you're not pulling that shoulder off of the ball there, and that's just good hitting. Not going to be happening for you or good every single time. You can maximize your ability by swinging the way right now that Tommy did.
And getting this experience here in camp is immeasurable for somebody like a Tommy Joseph.
Oh, you with the major league club, you kidding me? Major league guys that are around, you feel you belong once you get a hit.
Matt Gelb, who covers the Phillies for one of the Philadelphia papers, talked today about, you know, the comfort level that Tommy Joseph has had, you know, with some of the veteran pitchers that the Phillies have in camp this year. As Enciarte takes a healthy swing and a miss, it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, that's what Major League Camp's all about, though. I mean, you go to be able to learn, and I mean, obviously, you want to make the club, but you want to take away from the experience as much as you can to be able to help you wherever you might go.
Enciarte fouls it away.
Boy, sends a missile into the stands.
Bullpen action. Brett Cecil warming up in the pen for the Blue Jays.
Those are the kind of balls that Wills talks about, and just really getting down and getting out of the way. I myself will try and protect who's ever around.
Oh, will you? Depends on who it is that's around. That'll dictate whether you're going to protect them or not.
Well, there is a saying, everybody for themselves. But if it's kids or women around, you know,
you'll be protected.
Oh, there's no doubt.
That pitch is a little high. Oh, maybe got a piece of it. It did. And Enciarte is aboard with a hit by pitch. And that'll put runners on first and second. So Joseph is on second. Enciarte is on first.
Well, he just nicked him. A lot of times, as an umpire, you can just hear it. Is he trying to put his shoulder out there?
I think he might have been trying to put his shoulder out there. I think.
Well, taking one for the club, I guess.
Betancourt singled homer run his last time up, so he's 1 for 2. And a strike at the knees. It's 0-1. Phil Cuzzy is the home plate umpire today. He is the crew chief. Eric Cooper, Marty Foster, and Colin Klein are the other 3. Colin Klein is at first base right now. The field umpires do rotate. Marty Foster's at third. Eric Cooper's at second right now. In the dirt, gets by Blanco, and over to third goes Tommy Joseph. And Enciarte goes to second.
Don't see that too much with Henry Blanco, one of the better catchers or backup catchers in the league here today. And, well, again, it is spring training. He's a veteran. Take a look at it and see how it skips through here. You know, he has to be able to get that body in front. During the season, he would do just that. When you shift over, instead of trying to lay it with one hand, try and get the body in front of it to knock it down.
2-1 the count.
Well, he's having a rough time back there today, isn't he?
It's had 2 wild pitches and just dropped that pitch right there.
Usually throws the ball a lot better to second base. It must be a little bit early, and early for everyone. And again, he's one of the better catchers, backup catchers in the league.
Betancourt grounds it to shortstop, and Bonifacio throws it a little low, and it's dug out by Lind, and the side is retired. The Phillies get one more back, though. Dominic Brown goes yard for yet another chance. His third home run of the spring. Sunday, April 7th at 1:35, the Phillies will wrap up their three-game series against the Kansas City Royals. All fans 14 and under will receive the free Ryan Howard wiffle ball set. Compliments of IBEW Local 98. Make plans now to order your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Phillies have pulled within 1, 4-3. As we go to the top of the fifth inning, Justin DeFreitas will take over on the mound for the Phillies. So Aaron Cook goes the first 4. And Cook allows 7 hits and 4 runs. So now DeFreitas in his third game this spring. He's thrown 3 innings so far. By the way, I mentioned before about the Tommy Joseph story that Matt Gelb wrote today. It was in the Philadelphia Inquirer. I said one of the Philadelphia papers. It was in the Inquirer earlier today. And it's a great story. I know Tommy's DHing today, but it talked about his adjustment to coming over to the Phillies, and also how he is settling in, getting a chance to catch some of the veterans on the Phillies staff. It's a really neat piece, and Tommy Joseph is a very good prospect for the Phillies. And we'll probably see him more as camp moves on behind the plate, along with Carlos Ruiz and Eric Kratz.
And that's always a thrill for a lot of young players that come in and catch any of the veteran guys, from Cliff Lee to, I mean, you name it, Hamels.
Over towards shortstop, Betancourt to his left. Cabrera is retired, 1 away.
Tell you that Cabrera, they're very lucky to end up getting the contract that he did from the Toronto Blue Jays. One of the things, though, you'll give him credit for, said he didn't want the batting title and was okay about not playing in the World Series. He admitted that he had taken whatever he did, and I guess the general manager there for Toronto Blue Jays felt it was okay and gave him a pretty hefty contract. Nice contract.
And he gave it to him rather quick, too, in the offseason as Bautista takes a strike. Alex Anthopoulos, who's the GM of the Blue Jays, made some bold moves this past offseason.
Well, this is the time. I mean, you look at Boston down. You look at the Yankees that are down.
1 ball and 1 strike to count to Jose Bautista.
You know, in the 50 game, though, suspension, I mean, you know, for me, they have that the drug policy in place. So, you know, I mean, you just go on and abide by it. And obviously, because there are players that are still doing it, that the reward, I guess, is better than the reward is better than what they're going to receive for punishment. And I think that's why, too, again, you have so many guys there that continue to seem to need the crutch.
That pitch is a strike. It's 2-2.
But regardless of that, they're going to have a good offensive ball club. And this guy right here could be leading the attack, but they should be able to score some runs a variety of different ways. One of their better hitters, Encarnacion, DH'd a lot, not here today.
Kevin Franzen on the glove side. And there are 2 outs. But when you talk about the policy that Major League Baseball and the Players Association has in place right now for the use of PEDs and other illegal substances, there's been talk over the last week or so, not only by the players, but also by Bud Selig, the commissioner of baseball, and Michael Weiner, who is the director of the Players Association, about possibly in the very near future making the penalties stiffer when it comes to use of steroids and other illegal substances. As a strike is called on Adam Lind, and we'll see. And they're probably, it's good what baseball has in place, but it probably could be, or might be time to put even stiffer penalties in place to try to stop it as best you can.
Well, you want to stop it? You give them a year off and take away the pay, see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But again, with all the different things that are out, obviously the guys that had been taking it feel that, hey, it's masked. In other words, you're not going to be able to detect it at all.
Lind is 1 for 1 so far. A double his last time up. He had a sacrifice fly in the first. 4-3 Blue Jays here in the top of the 5th.
I think just having that Ricky Romero, one of their better pitchers, left-handed pitchers, started the game today. He's going to be their 5th starter. I mean, wow. R.A. Dickey on the team. Toronto Blue Jays gave up 2 top prospects to be able to get him.
Betancourt on the backhand. Well, he's got a strong arm. And because of Lynn's speed or lack thereof, he had time to throw across his body to make the play. So 1, 2, 3, 5th inning. Pretty clean one for the Phils defensively. Get suited up for spring training at the official online shop of the Phillies with the largest selection of authentic spring training gear, including blankets, well, not really blankets, but clubhouse caps and T-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and more. Get set for spring at the official source, thephillies.com shop. I am sure that you can get blankets, though, Sarge,
I was just going to correct you that they do have blankets.
They do have blankets?
Yeah, blankets, have huge beach towels, and you name it. They leave no stone unturned. Hats. Everything you need.
I believe you can also purchase this new pullover that we're wearing today. In case you're wondering. It is that kind of day, though, where you need every piece of winter gear at Phillies.com if you're going to come down and watch the Phillies play here in Clearwater. At least for today.
I had to layer up today, as a matter of fact. It was so cold.
Brett Cecil will take over on the mound for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the 5th. Cecil is the 4th pitcher used by Toronto this afternoon. Ricky Romero started, went the first 2, then Santos, then Luke. New right fielder is Ryan Langerhans for the Blue Jays. Over at shortstop is Mike McCoy. Kevin Franzen leads it off for the Phillies. And the first pitch is upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. Over at first base is Andy LaRoche, former Dodger and Pirate. So those are the 3 defensive changes along with the pitcher for the Blue Jays.
Boy, just enough degrees for the hitters where it's not as cold as you would possibly think it is, because of the fact that when you hit the ball, you get really some sting in your hand, usually when it's a little bit colder. I think it's up in the 50s, so that's all bets are off as far as I'm concerned. 52 to be exact. Let me put my hand out of the window. Yep, 52.
There's ball 4 for Friends, and I would like to see you do that on a daily basis, Sarge. Just put your hand out of the window and tell us what the temperature is and the barometric pressure.
Oh, I bet you would, wouldn't you?
Well, here we go. 235 in the east. 52 degrees.
Wow.
You're right on, Sarge, with that.
I'm telling you.
Chase Utley's the batter. He's walked twice.
Well, you get to where the wind's blowing. It's a little bit colder. You talk about in the 40s, 30s, man. You better hit that ball right on the screws. It's Henry Blanco going out and talking a little bit, maybe getting crossed up.
Well, the sound of the ball off the bat today is different than what we've heard these last few days when the weather's warmer. It just sounds like it's almost a thud off the bat today. Yeah,
it does get louder. And believe it or not, though, having that crowd in the stands has a tendency to almost make that ball sound loud. And we've seen some loud balls hit. Miguel Cabrera.
Ground ball right side, base hit for Utley. Franzen on his way to third. Here's the throw by Langerhans. Boy, that was a throw that just sailed right out of his hand, and Utley moves up to second. Utley, once he sees that ball is overthrown, the cutoff man, he's hustling up an extra bag.
Yeah, well, he made that from actually home plate. He saw the base hit right in the hole as he rounds the bag, and you're right, that's his key. There's that ball right in the hole. Now, coming up with any high throw at all, that's what we call a parachute. Automatically, you're going into second base. You can see he made it there, a little stand-up slide. That's why we talk about getting the ball down. When you get the ball down, you freeze the runner, even if it's off target a little bit. Good situation for hitting right now for Ryan Howard.
So runners on second and third. Howard 0 for 2. He's lined out and he is struck out. Phillies trying to take the lead. They're down 1. They have nobody out and runners on second and third. Phillies trailing 4-3 here, trailing 4-2 down in Sarasota. Howard slams one deep to right field. Forget about it. Wow. 3-run home run for Ryan Howard, and the Phillies have taken the lead.
I got to tell you, if he's going to start jumping in this cape early on like this, as he has a little bit of that little limp going around, I don't know. We'll talk to him about it. Maybe that's just the way he's going to do it. But I got to tell you, this ball out over the plate looked to be something a little bit off speed. Don't know if he was actually sitting on it or not. Just take a look at it. There's the sound right there that Tom was talking about. I got to tell you, boy, he hit the ball a long way. Stood and watched it. Knew the ball was going to be out of the ballpark.
Literally out of the ballpark here at Bright House Field. It's 6-4, Phillies on top. And it's 0-1 to Darren Ruff. So Howard hits his third on the same day that Dominic Brown hits his third. Just an inning later. Steve Henderson next to Ryan Howard there on the bench. He's got to feel pretty good about some of the power swings he's seen. Breaking ball, 0-2 to Ruff.
Well, when you're coming in too as that hitting coach, even as coaches that have been there before, when certain guys start to hit, boy, just makes you feel better. There he is there, Steve Henderson, a no-nonsense type of a hitting coach, as you see he's studying right now to see exactly what Darren Ruff is doing on that check strikeout. And he will record it, and what he'll do is he'll keep that and then talk about it maybe a little bit later, or sometimes you'll talk to him right during the game. Take a look here at Howard's swing. He's in a good hitting position. Look at that slow feet. We talked about it. Head down, and boy, he knew it was out of there once he cleared his hips.
Dominic Brown homered his last time up. He's 1 for 2, and it's no balls and 1 strike.
You know, Wills had mentioned that early on he looked like he was a little bit closer to the plate, and believe it or not, I think he is. I like it when you're closer to the plate, because what you've done, if you dared the pitcher to like come inside on you at all you got to do is worry about the outside part of the plate, as opposed to standing deep worrying about in and out.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Brown.
Well, he'll make everybody better in that lineup if he's in the middle and just making solid contact like this. And you notice right now he's not rushing at all up at the plate, and we'll look at that once the season actually starts to see whether or not he's doing just that. Here it is again there. Boy, look at his head down. That is just classic head down. Look at that, hitting against the front foot. That's already damaged right there. It's just a classic power swing. And then when you see how far the ball went, unfortunate for a lot of the fans there in the berm, you'd have to jump the outer fence if you're going to go get that ball.
Called strike 3. Brown down looking for the second straight strikeout for Cecil. And there are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th.
Got to be sitting on something soft. Give that to Brown too, though, because he's got a pretty good eye at the plate, especially for a young player. You don't see him swinging at a lot of bad pitches, and that is really key for a lot of the youngsters. Swinging at strikes.
Pratt's a high chopper to third. And the inning is over. But the damage was done. A 3-run home run by Ryan Howard. His third of the spring. This is the longest of the 3. Way on out of Bright House Field. Top 6-4 as we move to the top of the 6th inning. Chase Utley and Ryan Howard, their afternoons are complete, doing a little autograph signing as they head down the left field line. Tonight, warm up for the Phillies season with Jim Salisbury's appraisal of the Phillies' future. And Joe Jordan shares what he looks for in player development. Watch Phillies Focus tonight at 10:30 only on Comcast Sportsnet. Ryan Howard fresh off his third home run. Finishing up some autographs as Antonio Bastardo warming up on the mound.
Best time to get autographs is in spring training, especially here at this ballpark. It seems like it's almost made for the fans to be able to get autographs from the players. I got to kind of like that, too. And then once you recognize, too, and keep in mind for the fans that are down here that, you know, when a player has a good game or he hits a home run, he's going to sign some extra autographs down there on the line there. It just goes hand in hand.
You got to have a feel, Sarge. You have to have a feel.
Well, I mean, you do. So, I mean, you can see how long Ryan Howard is down there and signing autographs. So, for the kids, it's a good time. Just line up there on the wall and say, boy, Mr. Howard, you hit that ball a long way.
So you have to have information before you settle in to get the autograph.
Well,
you have to understand what's happening in the game.
Well, that helps, but just because he has had a good game, he'll be down there a little bit longer.
Well, Ryan obviously has had a very good spring.
Yeah.
You know, Charlie has talked about giving him a chance to get a lot of at-bats these first few games. Mission accomplished, and it's worked, because if it had gone the other way, he might say, all right, well, it hasn't worked the way I wanted it to. But this plan has worked for Charlie and for Ryan Howard.
Good point there, too, that when you're going in and you're getting multiple at-bats as opposed to maybe just 2 one day, Charlie's doing it a different way, and that is getting him 3 or 4 at-bats, and it's starting to pay off his right.
Well, Mark DeRosa slams one to deep left field, and that one's going to be way out of here. A solo home run to start the 6th, so it's a 6-5 game.
I got to tell you what, they're going to start to have some concerns, I would think, about Bastardo, just from not only giving up runs, but even location on his pitches. That ball smoked, by the way. DeRosa, well-traveled player, solid at the plate. His problem is that he's been getting hurt a little bit too much.
So it's 6-5. Rajai Davis is the batter. He's 0 for 2. He's grounded out. He's also flied out to center. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. Franz in another grass at third. Davis does have good speed. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph?
All right, guys, fresh off signing a couple dozen autographs. Ryan Howard stopping to chat with us. And obviously, you've been playing every day. The swing looks good. You look healthy. How do you feel at this point in the season, or in the spring training? How are you feeling right now swinging the bat?
I mean, it feels pretty good. Legs feel healthy. Just a matter of being able to stay on top of it, keeping them fresh, keeping them recovered, and all that kind of good stuff. So just taking it all in stride right now, trying to progress through spring training.
Yeah, you've been the Iron Man in spring training. I'm sure you've been asked about playing every day. Your decision, Charlie's decision, a combination of both?
I mean, I think it's more of what Charlie wanted to do, kind of getting my legs back into baseball shape. You know, being able to go out there and play and just let them kind of get stronger through playing the game. So, but also, you know, also watching them and making sure we can keep them healthy and strong for the season.
You know, you came out into the bench after that home run, and a lot of smiles and a lot of laughter. You know, last year is last year, this year is this year, but certainly looks like you guys are having some fun in there. And when you're swinging a good bat, I guess that certainly helps.
Yeah, I mean, it's the mindset this year is different. You know, we had a lot of different injuries, and this year we're coming back. Guys are feeling better, feeling healthier, and we just want to go out and have fun and play our game.
Last question. We're just taking a look at the home run. Did you have any idea just how far that was going to travel? I think it was a gator ball. I think it cleared both fences over there.
I mean, I had no clue. I just wanted it to be over the first fence. That's what's really counted, and you know, be able to put us back up.
All right, Ryan. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time. Ryan Howard, guys, back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. You saw Ryan's numbers going into 2013, 300 career home runs as the season gets underway. Mike McCoy is up for the first time for the Blue Jays. And he takes low, 1 ball and no strikes.
I wanted Murph to ask him about that little cape that he puts on when he's at the plate, hit the ball out of the ballpark, almost as if he's Superman or so on. has that little dance or little twist or something that he does when he hits the home run.
He's styling, Sarge. You had that, didn't you?
Yeah, you're right. I guess that's why they call it the show, you know, for that same reason. You know, but you just feel, I mean, as a power hitter, too, and obviously Ryan Howard, one of the better ones in the game, you know, to have your stroke the way it is now, boy, you're just feeling good about all facets of your game. And then not hitting it, it would be the same effect the opposite way. Look at that. I mean, he just, that's when you're having fun. That's what I wanted to ask him about. Look at that strut, as if he's a proud peacock as he's hit that ball out of the ballpark.
Michael Martinez in at second base for the Phillies. Throws over to Darren Ruff, who shifted from left field over to first base. And 2 away.
Yeah, I don't think I had that kind of kind of flair.
But I will. You didn't. What do you mean you didn't have that kind of flair? You had flair.
I mean, not like that though. I mean, you see how he was walking kind of slow and they're doing the moonwalk forward.
Sarge, I don't know if you recall, but the other day we were playing wiffle ball in the backfield, and you made contact on one of the pitches, and you were looking for your hat to throw off your hat.
I remember that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Well.
So the whole muscle memory thing, which you had as a player, still carries over to your retirement.
Just wasn't running as fast. That's all.
Nobody is, Sarge. Nobody is. Henry Blanco's 1 for 2. He doubled and scored his first time up. 1 ball, 1 strike the count.
Well, he's made one heck of a living being a backup catcher. He started a couple of years, but it just goes to show you in the major leagues, if you're a backup catcher, can block the ball, can throw the ball. Henry, not a good hitter at all in the league, more of a defensive player. You can have a long career. Put the tattoos on when he was in Chicago. Just something that a lot of players are doing these days.
Check swing, little low, 2-2 the count to Blanco. Antonio Bastardo, the third pitcher used by the Phillies today. Justin DeFreitas pitched a clean 5th inning. 3 ground ball outs for Justin. After Aaron Cook went the first 4, allowed 4 runs on 7 hits. Swing and a miss, and the side is retired. He did allow a home run. However, he got the next 3 hitters. Well, you want to know about swings and struts? Ryan Howard certainly has put out a pretty nice swing today, and there's that little strut. And how about Sarge? The swing? Where's the strut?
That's awful.
Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? Last of the 6th inning, Phillies on top 6-5 here in Clearwater. The new pitcher for the Blue Jays is right-hander Justin Germano. Last year he was 2-10 with a 6.20 earned run average. Mike Nikias, by the way, takes over behind the plate for the Blue Jays. He was acquired from the New York Mets during this past offseason. Blue Jays have also changed their cornermen. LaRoche goes from first base over to third, and then Lars Anderson takes over at first base. There's Lars. Oh, and 1 the count to Tommy Joseph, and that's in for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes. A couple other changes for the Blue Jays. They've changed up their outfield a little bit. And a line drive base hit for Tommy Joseph. He took a hanger and shot it right back through the middle.
Well, that's how you hit a breaking ball, and that's where you want to hit it. Again, he stayed right on it. Ball was up in the zone, but it's up to the hitter to hit the ball. This is after a fastball in the outside corner. Take a look at it. He picks the spin up. You can tell that. What an adjustment, though. He didn't get out in front on his front foot to roll it over, and he smacked it right up the middle. Good hit.
So now Ender Enciarte will be the batter for the Phillies with a runner at first. By the way, Joseph is now 2 for 3. Enciarte bunts foul up the first base line, and it's no balls and 1 strike. Phillies trying to tack on another run here in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, not a bad play. Kind of like the way that he did that in going for the line. Wasn't really a true sacrifice. Kind of almost bunting for a hit. You're able to get that runner over. It's just a bonus if you get the hit.
Enciarte's been on base twice today. He singled his first time up and scored a run. Then he was hit by a pitch in the 4th. So 1 for 1, up for the 3rd time. Off the glove of Nikias. Not far enough to allow Joseph to advance.
Yeah, that ball keeps hitting the catcher's glove and bouncing away. Sure, he changed gloves and not using the same one that Henry Blanco, the last catcher, did.
Down the right field line, a foul ball. By the way, down in Sarasota, the Orioles have opened it up against the Phillies. It's now an 11-2 ball game. Baltimore on top of the Phils. Here, the Phillies trailed it 4-2, but then the 3-run home run by Ryan Howard gave the Phils the lead. Down in Sarasota, Michael Young has hit a 2-run home run. John Mayberry is 2 for 3. Sounded like he broke his bat. That's going to dump in front of the right fielder Langerhans, and his throw to second not in time. Tommy Joseph slides in safely.
Anytime you hear this sound as a runner or fielder, you know that that is a broken bat. As he comes in, just got to read it and get in, just exactly the way that he did. Now, you can't go all the way back to the bag. You can't go all the way to the bag. You got to read that ball, and when you see it falling in, Tommy did a good job of it and going on and getting into scoring position.
Breaking ball to Betancourt, and strike. It's 0-1. Betancourt today is 1 for 3 with an RBI single.
It's amazing sometimes the way that the pitchers can make the ball bend the way that they did on that very first pitch.
That backswing by Betancourt got a piece of Mike Nikias, the catcher. It's no balls and 2 strikes.
Now this is on the backswing. See how that comes all the way back, and boy, Seeing catchers take that off the elbow. If it's going to hit you, you want it on the glove somewhere. I'll try and move the runners in this situation some kind of way. Got to continue to play the game, getting them over and getting them in.
Foul ball back toward the on-deck circle, saved by Kevin Franzen. It remains 0-2.
A lot of times in these situations, you want to kind of shorten your stroke up a little bit, not be as long to try and make contact.
Yeah, Yaneski's up there. It looks like to pulling the ball all the time.
Yeah, he swings. He swings hard, which is okay. But there's some situations, even like in this one, that you don't want to have that wild swing. You want to be a little bit more compact. Like a new player and coming over from a different team, trying to make this team here, you're thinking hits and more hits.
He fouls off another breaking pitch. It remains 1-2.
Good adjustment. Bailed on the first curveball. At least he was able to foul the ball off. That's what you want to do on tough pitches, especially when you have the 2 strikes, just to keep yourself alive.
That ball is ripped deep to left field, and it stays in the yard. A one-hop off the wall. Joseph will score. Here comes Franzen. He's heading home. Well, excuse me, Enciarte, and the throw to the plate. Not in time. Enciarte gets his hand in ahead of the tag of Nikias. It's a 2-run double for Betancourt. 8-5 Phillies.
Picking up 2 RBIs. Juan Samuel, third base coach. We're used to him. Very aggressive there. He get the right runners on. He acts as if he's running. Take a look at it. This ball is smoke fastball. Down and over the heart of the plate. Betancourt not missing that. Coming off the wall. Now it's off to the races right now. That's a pretty good throw there, too. For him to get under that tag there, you know he had a lot of speed. That's just a good slide. Don't advise it going with your hands in, but he made it, so nice going.
So 2 RBIs for Betancourt. He has 3 in the game. Franzen's going to dump this one down the right field line. That's going to drop for an extra base hit. Betancourt will score. Franzen might think 3 for the second time today. No, he stays at second. It's an RBI double. 9-5 Phillies. So Kevin Franzen has a 2-hit day.
Well, you like him in the way he makes solid contact.
It's still nobody out here in the 6th.
And notice too, though, on this play here, Franzen trying to hit the ball the other way. That's what you want the team to do. Even if it's just breaking it up here, you want them to still continue to play the game no matter what. That's playing unselfish ball. He ends up getting an RBI out of that and a double. Nice hitting. Well, you want it to be repetitious in the way that you're playing and scoring runs. Over the course of the season, everybody is going to get an opportunity. That's why you think about your teammates and being able to get them over, especially when he's on second base, get him over to the right side, hit the ball over that way.
Another base hit. This one down the left field line. Franzen will coast home from second. Martinez with his first hit of the spring slides in safely at second base. It's 10-5 Phillies.
Wow.
Third time this week the Phillies have reached double digits in base hits.
Well, this one right here off the end of the bat, though. Good approach. See how he just went the other way, though, and didn't try and come off of it. That way he would have hit it off the end of the bat. Didn't hit it solid, but it was a line drive going right into left field. And with his speed, he can hustle and get that double, and that's what he did.
Well, still nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th. Phillies have scored 7 runs in the last 2 innings. Claudio Vargas is throwing in the pen for the Blue Jays. J.C. Ramirez had been throwing in the Phillies bullpen. And now Jermaine Mitchell over from the A's organization. 2 for 4 so far this spring. Batting with Martinez at second base. And he fouls the first pitch back. It's 0-1. To left field. Schimpf going back, rolling out there, and makes the catch. And Martinez, who had gone halfway, goes back to second. So 1 away here in the 6th. Don't miss out on any Phillies news, alerts, or inside information. Sign up today for the CSNPhilly.com Phillies newsletter, and do it today. Now the first out is recorded for the Phillies here in the 6th inning. I think Jermaine Mitchell thought that ball had dropped, and he was actually lingering over at first base. Darren Ruff now the batter, and Ruff takes a breaking ball for a strike. Darren is 0 for 3. Here's Mitchell rounding first. Oh nope, he fell down. He stumbled, and there he thought it was still alive.
Yeah. I think as a player, everybody's kind of gone through that time or two where you don't know where the ball is and they're acting as if it's in play.
I think he was trying to get everybody's attention off the fact that he stumbled around the first base bag.
Well, he did.
Ruff fights one off and lofts it to left for the second out.
You know, one of the things Charlie's doing though with Brown and Ruff and Mayberry, he's making sure they get plenty of at-bats. You can put Ben Revere in there too, starting in today's game. He had 19, Mayberry 18, Brown and Darren Ruff 16 apiece. So they're all getting plenty of at-bats, and it's going to be up to the individual. So at the end of spring, no one can say, wow, I didn't get enough at-bats, and if it's equal, it's equal.
Yeah, Ben Revere is 1 for 3 today down in Sarasota. In fact, he's still in the ball game for the Phillies. Meanwhile, John Mayberry, the DH today down in Sarasota, 2 for 3. He's hitting .286 this spring. Dominic Brown 1 for 3 this afternoon. The one was a long home run back in the 4th.
Yeah, and once they started talking with Mayberry, for some reason, they've kind of gotten to him where, hey, you need to be a little bit more aggressive. Start talking to players like that, they start listening. I don't know how you hit when you're not aggressive at the plate, especially on the fastball. That's supposed to be your bread and butter. That's then most young players get there because they can hit the fastball.
Two balls, 2 strikes the count. And a swing and a miss at a high fastball, and the side is retired. The Phillies, though, score 4 more runs to take a 10-5 lead as we go to the 7th. game summary today, the Phillies with 10 runs on 12 base hits, 2 long home runs, one by Ryan Howard and the other one wheels by Dominic Brown. Both have had pretty good days.
It's been a fun game. You know, the wind blowing in the way that it is, you think you'd have more of a low-scoring game. Just the opposite. Really sloppy early, a lot of offense, some good base running. Later as the game went a long time, as you said, the home runs. And they've hit 2 of them into the wind in left field, and the Phillies, Dominic Brown and Ryan Howard, got them with the wind going the other way, and were they long ones.
So as we go to the top of the 7th inning, the Phillies will change pitchers again and also make a couple of other adjustments. In fact, Joe Mather takes over in right field for the Phillies, or I should say Derek Mitchell, wearing number 22, which is Joe Mather's number, and Humberto Quintero is the new catcher for the Phillies, and on the mound is J.C. Ramirez. Ramirez so far 3 hits in 1 inning of work, and he will face Myceres Torres, who swings at the first pitch. Shallow left center field. Now to center field. Betancourt is there. So is Enciarte, and it's Enciarte who makes the catch. That ball started out in shallow left and just started going all the way over towards center field.
It's a crosswind.
So 1 away. J.C. Ramirez, who the Phillies acquired in the original Cliff Lee trade with the Seattle Mariners, was taken off the 40-man roster this past offseason. And he passed through waivers, so Ramirez remained with the Phillies. He's been in spring camp before, facing Anthony Gose, who's 1 for 3. And a strike, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Gose began the game with an infield single and eventually came around to score the first run for the Blue Jays. There's a strike, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Phillies acquired Tyson Gillies, J.C. Ramirez, and Philippe Almont in that trade for Cliff Lee, the original trade. And a called strike 3, and all 3 are still around. And Almont, who was probably the prize of that trade, although everybody was high on Ramirez and obviously high on Gillies too, Almont should be in the bullpen for the Phillies this year. And there were a lot of expectations for J.C. Ramirez these last couple of seasons too, and it just hasn't consistently, I think that's the best way of putting it, panned out for him.
Well, you watch in this inning, his ball's up a lot. You know, he throws really hard, but you can't throw it hard enough for major league hitters if it's down the middle. Look where that pitch was.
Yeah, Ochinko chops it towards shortstop. It's going to turn out to be a quick inning of just 6 pitches for J.C. Ramirez. 6 in a row retired by the Phillies bullpen. Time to stretch here in Clearwater. Changes for the Blue Jays. Let's kind of reset the infield for them. We talked about Andy LaRoche, how he moved from first base to third base last inning, so he's still over at third. The new shortstop is Lance Zawatsky. So Zawatsky takes over for McCoy, but McCoy will remain in the game. We'll let you know about that in a second. Eugenio Velez is the new second baseman for the Blue Jays. And then Lars Anderson, of course, is over at first base. He came in the last inning. Now McCoy goes from third base to center field for the Blue Jays, so he's still in the ball game. There's McCoy, who's out in center field, so he changes his infielder's glove for his outfielder's glove. And we have a new pitcher for the Blue Jays. It's right-hander Claudio Vargas, who will take over. The veteran Claudio Vargas.
Well, he's been through the wars. This guy, he looked like he was going to be so good at one time, and then he got a lot of shoulder problems that set him back.
Already 3 innings so far in 2 ball games for the Blue Jays. And he'll face Humberto Quintero, who takes a 3/4 swing at the first pitch. And there's one away.
He took a swing at a sinker running in on him that started in the middle of the plate when he started to swing. And by the time he was ready to swing, it was like, no, I don't want to do this. Too late.
And it didn't feel good either off the bat, I would think.
That had to really hurt. Right here, watch this thing start running. Oh, here it comes right at me, and I don't want to swing it. Ow, that had to hurt. Oh, that ball was like hitting a bowling ball there on a cold day.
Tommy Joseph has had a good day today for the Phillies. He's 2 for 3.
Quintero's going back to the dugout, just not shaking his head, flexing his hand. You don't get beat up enough catching. You got to get a burner like that. Oof.
Who is right? Joseph lifts it in the air, shallow left field. The wind will take that one back toward the infield, so Zawatsky will take care of it for the second out.
Just shows you how hard Bautista and DeRosa hit those balls to left field, that they were home runs when you see the way the wind blows the ball back today.
You see the breeze. It's more than a breeze. It's a gust right now here.
It's steady. Out of the northwest.
Now 2 outs for Ender Inciarte.
He can run.
He can run.
It's a heck of a slide he made, too.
First pitch over for strike. It's 0-1.
One of those head firsters, but in that case, he had to get away from the catcher and get his hand in there. As Joe, looks like Joe Savory starts to throw.
0-2 the count. By the way, speaking of Mark DeRosa, congratulations to the Penn Quakers with a big win last night. Big basketball win last night. Wheels over Harvard. Harvard came down to Princeton this past weekend. In first place in the Ivy League, Princeton defeated the Crimson, and then Penn defeated them last night. So Princeton is now in first place in the Ivy League.
That'll make 10 or 15 people in our front office happy. That's for sure. All those Penn guys.
Very good win by the Penn Quakers last night. St. Joseph's won yesterday. Keep their bid for the A-10 tournament alive. LaSalle won, looking for a bye in the first round of the A-10 tournament. A lot of things going on yesterday in college basketball in Philadelphia. As Inciarte is down looking on strikes. 1, 2, 3 go the Phillies. 7 in the books here in Clearwater. The Phillies. Phillies baseball is brought to you by WB Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. And by the Quality Plus Ford stores. Go further. We go to the top of the 8th inning. The Phillies enjoying a 10-5 lead here. Phillies are struggling down in Sarasota this afternoon against the Orioles. Second straight day the Phillies have taken on John Gibbons' Toronto Blue Jays. It sounds kind of strange to say John Gibbons' Toronto Blue Jays because Gibbons was the manager, was fired, and then brought back for a second tour of duty. And it will begin this season. As we go to the top of the 8th inning, J.C. Ramirez remains in the ball game for the Phillies. And Ryan Langerhans will lead it off for Toronto. Ramirez had a 6-pitch 7th inning, so that's why he's out there to pitch here in the 8th. And the first pitch inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Langerhans is a veteran, 3 for 14 this spring. And 2 balls and no strikes. The mask of Quintero, and it remains 2-2.
He's taking a beating. Spring training for these two. Bam. That was hands and his jaws hurt.
Check swing, they appeal, and Phil Cuzzi doesn't want an appeal. Phil Cuzzi's decided to hold the call. And it's now 3 balls and 2 strikes. Eric Cooper, I think, was ready to make the call.
He was all set to give it a good one, too. Look at him. I was ready to get him.
Inside, ball 4, so a leadoff walk. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph?
All right, thanks a lot, T-Mac, here with Don Brown, and you and I were just talking about, and I said the word that everyone seems to be using in regards to you, the spring training, is comfortable, and that is the word that you would agree. You just feel comfortable? Talk a little bit about that.
Like I just told you, I'm just feeling comfortable in the box, feeling comfortable with my surroundings and players and teammates, and I'm just going out and having fun, and that's it.
Is it a matter of, you've obviously been in spring training for a couple of years. Is it just one of those things you become more and more comfortable as you go along?
Right, I think this is my 4th spring training or something with the big league club. So, the more games and the more reps I get, the more comfortable I'm going to get. And, that's all that's going on right now.
Mechanically at the plate, there's been some talk that maybe you're doing something a little bit different, something you've worked with Wally or with Steve. Is that true, or are you doing anything different?
Nobody knows. We've been doing a lot of work. We've been working every day and early work, offensively, defensively as well. And I'm just taking it into the games and having that same approach.
Yeah, the prospect of fighting for a job, fighting for a big league job. It's probably something you've been thinking about since you were a little kid. Right. And it's here. And right now, I said, we talked about sink or swim, and you're swimming right now. It's got to feel pretty good.
Right. It feels good. It feels good. It's still a long spring ahead. I'm not even looking at it like I'm fighting for a job. I'm just going out trying to compete and enjoying it. And it's still a game at the end of the day, a game that I love. But, I'm going out, working hard every day and making sure I'm doing the right things.
Well, we're certainly enjoying it as well, Don. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, back upstairs.
Murph, it's amazing to think that this is his 4th spring training with the Phillies. I mean, isn't it? Time has just flown on by. The fact that it's his 4th spring training with the Phillies. It's remarkable. J.C. Ramirez's day is done. 16 pitches for the right-hander. Joe Savory's coming in. We'll tell you about Joe when we get back. Get all the news that Philly fans need to know on Sports Night every night at 6 and 10, only on Comcast Sportsnet. On a cool spring afternoon here in Clearwater, Florida, the Phillies on top 10-5 as we are in the top of the 8th inning with one man down and a runner at first. A pitching change in the middle of an inning. It's not often you see these in spring training. Not as often as, let's say, the regular season. But Joe Savory comes on for J.C. Ramirez. And Savory in one game so far has just thrown an inning. And he's on to face Lars Anderson with a runner at first base. Anderson up for the first time. And a swing and a miss at the first fastball from Savory. Anderson 1 for 2 in the spring. Lars Anderson is now 25 years old. He's a former 18th round selection of the Boston Red Sox. That was back in 2006. He has spent 30 games in the major leagues. Does not have a major league home run, as a lifetime 167 batter in those 30 games. Tried to check his swing, but he went, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. He had risen to the number 17 prospect according to Baseball America in the Red Sox system. Part of that was because of his ability to hit the long ball. 14 home runs in 2011, 15 home runs in 2010, and then 18 home runs back in 2008. Two and 2 the count zone. Last year he spent time not only in the Red Sox system but also with the Cleveland Indians organization. Swing and a miss. He was overpowered by a Joe Savory fastball for the second out here in the 8th inning. Pretty good life on that fastball from Joe Savory.
Threw it up in the zone and he chases it here.
Two outs, and Ryan Schimpf will bat for the first time. Schimpf came on to play left field. He's listed as an infielder on the roster for the Blue Jays. And Savory fires a strike. It's 0-1. One and one the count. Blue Jays and everybody else around Major League Baseball have these brand new spring training hats, batting practice hats that they're wearing. Blue Jays, their design is the leaf, the maple leaf, whereas the Phillies' design is similar to what they would normally wear as far as the P goes, but they've got the blue brim this spring. There you go. It's a pretty sharp hat. In fact, you get more and more you look at it, the more you like it. And all those hats that Major League Baseball is now selling from spring training are available at MLB.com or Phillies.com. And it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Some of the hats around Major League Baseball wheels include the mascot of the Major League team as the logo. Some of them are kind of throwbacks to the old hats, like the Diamondbacks is kind of a throwback to their old hat.
Cardinals have a cardinal on their hat? Is that what you mean?
Cardinals,
something like that?
The Mets have Mr. Met on their hat.
That's exciting.
The 1-2 pitch in the dirt, 2-2. In fact, when I saw the hats came out and I saw some of the teams had their mascot on there, I thought, well, maybe the Fanatics on the Phillies hat. It's not. It's a more traditional cap.
Mr. Met. Mr. Met's a terrific mascot. Of just that one year he was voted a better mascot than the Fanatic.
Silly. Yeah, that was silly.
I don't think Mr. Met would even agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
He does his own fine job, but not like the Fanatic.
World's most recognizable mascot would be the Fanatic.
Absolutely.
A breaking pitch and a called strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Joe Savory on in relief here in the 8th inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th.
Is presented by Authority of the Phillies and may not be reproduced nor retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Phillies.
Bottom of the 8th inning, the Phillies on top 10-5. We were talking about the new hats that the Phillies and everybody else in Major League Baseball is wearing this year. I guess the Phillies sold enough dangle caps last year and they became so popular that they didn't need to use them as part of the new logo on the batting practice or spring training hats that they're wearing these days. That gentleman is making sure that he's not only warm but comfortable with the regular cap, with the Fanatic dangle cap on top of it. Alex Hinshaw is the new pitcher for the Blue Jays as we start the bottom of the 8th inning here in Clearwater. It's a 10-5 Phillies lead. Wheels, it's 10-5 here, but down in Sarasota they have moved to the 8th inning and it's 11-3 Baltimore.
That'd be tough to come back, especially when you're on the road. You know, it's harder.
Very difficult. John Mayberry is 2 for 4 in the ball game. Michael Young hit a 2-run home run. That was his first home run of the spring. Kyle Kenrick went the first 2. He allowed 4 hits and 4 runs for the Phillies.
Who else got hit around a little bit?
Well, the list is, well, it's not as long as you think. Jeremy Horst, 2/3, 4 hits, 6 runs.
Ooh.
It's unlike Jeremy Horst.
Yeah.
Bencourt has 3 RBIs today, 2 hits. And he lines that one to straightaway center field. McCoy is there for the first out. So 1 away for Kevin Franzen. Let's see, Zach Minor allowed a run in 2 1/3. That's not bad. Kyle Simon 1 inning scoreless. That's a good sign for him because he had been struggling somewhat in his first spring with the Phillies. Diekman 3 strikeouts in an inning and a third for the Phillies. Phillies have just added that 3rd run on a home run by Freddie Galvis, who was 1 for 4 today. Kevin Franzen has scored 3 runs and has an RBI. He has a double, a triple, and he's also walked up for the 5th time today. Outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Now, the split squad means that both games go on your record.
Correct.
Phillies are 3-4-1 as play begins today. If they win here, they'd be 4-4-1, and a loss down in Sarasota would make it 4-5-1.
Because there are ties in spring training. They can occur, as the PA announcer says here prior to the game.
Yep, they're informed before the ball game that games could be played to a tie depending on if the teams run out of players, which does happen in spring training. They just don't bring enough players on the road with them.
What nobody says anymore is you only play 10. By mutual agreement.
2-2 the count to Franzen.
There's a nice little 5-run lead here. Hopefully that would not come into play today.
Phillies now with 10 runs on 12 hits today. Offensively, they've put these kind of games together in the first week or so of spring training, where they've scored some runs.
Well, I thought the interview Murph did with Dominic Brown was really good. And whoops, go. Sorry.
Kevin will go, and he'll reach on a wild pitch after the strikeout.
Yeah, he didn't know where it went. It was a breaking ball in the dirt, and he hacked at it and got by the catcher, Nickius. But that watching, we'll get back to Dominic in a second. Here it is, that breaking ball in the dirt, swings and misses, gets away from the catcher. So he doesn't know. And all of a sudden he hears everybody yell, "Go!" He didn't hear me. Care less about that. Dominic, he just sounds like a different guy too. His confidence is so big in this business, in this game. He can get it, and if you don't have it, you really struggle. Martinez singles up the middle, and Franzen will stop at second. And I just like the way he's kind of low-keying everything. He just doesn't want to get caught up, and because he knows how humbling this could be, and he could throw an offer up all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, today he finished with another home run, which was his third of the spring. He was 1 for 3, or 1 for 4, I should say, on the afternoon.
I thought after he hit the home run, he got maybe a little bit out of what he's been doing, and that's being patient. He started chasing balls, and I think he was trying to get one up in that wind again, it looked like, after that home run. And he has really stayed within himself this spring and has really improved. He's such a good young man. You want him to do well because he works at it.
When you talk about being a good guy, he is unbelievably respectful. I always, and I've told him this before, I always love when he talks to Sarge, when he uses Sarge's name in the conversation when he's doing these interviews.
He is. That's a great point. That's what I mean about being a good person, good young man. He does. He has a lot of respect for people around the game too.
2-0 the count to Jermaine Mitchell, who's 0 for 1. Mitchell flied out to left his first time up. Phillies lead at 10-5. They have 13 hits now. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Two and 1 the count. There's a liner to right center field. That's going to be in for a base hit. It's going to skip right past McCoy and go to the wall. Mitchell can fly. 2 runs will score, and he's on his way to third, and he'll get there easily. Little bonus offense here at the bottom of the 8th inning. A 2-run triple for Jermaine Mitchell, and it's now a 12-5 game. Boy, if you watch him for a full season, he is fun to watch run the bases. I mean, he was flying.
Well, we saw him do this earlier in spring training where he took off like this and went for a triple. Now, he's on his own right there. He sees where it is. Now he'll look up. Juan Samuel's going to wave him, but he knows there's nobody going to get him when that ball's on that area.
So Phillies on top 12-5. They now have 14 hits today. Darren Ruff 0 for 4 in today's ball game. And it takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Ruff has struck out twice. He's grounded out. He's also flied to left.
12-5. They're not going to worry about their infield. They're going to play it back.
And Ruff just misses an extra base hit. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. over to shortstop. Took a wicked hop at the end, but Ruff is still retired. A run scores. It's an RBI for Darren Ruff, and the Phillies now lead at 13-5. And Derek Mitchell will get a chance to bat. Derek Mitchell last year had 8 home runs in the minor leagues. 0-1 the count to him. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Mitchell hit 164. And a swing and a miss in the side. He's retired. Phillies, though, tack on 3 more runs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. So they'll take a 13-5 lead as we go to the 9th. All around offensively, the Phillies have had a good day here in Clearwater. They're up 13-5. They have 14 base hits. Tomorrow they're on the road, and then Tuesday on Comcast Sportsnet, the Phillies will take on the Dominican Republic. That's right, Jose Reyes, Robinson Cano will wear the uniform of their country as they'll play an exhibition game against the Phillies as they prepare for the World Baseball Classic. Again, we'll be on the air Tuesday at 1 o'clock on Comcast Sportsnet. So we go to the top of the 9th inning. Joe Savory and will continue along for the Phillies. Savory will face Mike McCoy, who grounded out to second his only time up today. He's 0 for 1. And he hits this one right at the shortstop Bentoncourt. 1 pitch, and the throw goes right past Darren Ruff. 1 pitch and the 3rd error of the day for the Phillies, and the 2nd one for Bentoncourt. He had a lot of time, too.
Yeah, he had a lot of time. He had a really bad hop and made a nice play on that ball to catch it, and then he throws it low, and Ruff can't come up with it. That part of it was really a good play, and then he threw him a sinker for an error.
So they'll score that E6. Mike Nikias is now the batter. Nikias 1 for 7 this spring. I mentioned before that when the Blue Jays acquired R.A. Dickey from the Mets, they also got their 2 catchers that have caught R.A. Dickey, Josh Tolle and Mike Nikias. John Buck and Travis d'Arnaud both went back to the Mets, and both of those guys are catchers. Up high, 2 balls and no strikes, the count.
Against one of them, they're going to work into the role of catching Dickey, too.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be tolled. At least that's the way it seems right now. Aaron Sebia is going to the World Baseball Classic, and he's apparently going to catch R.A. Dickey there, but he's probably not going to be the catcher for the Blue Jays when R.A. Dickey's on the mound.
Takes a special guy back there to catch a knuckleball, especially a guy as good as Dickey. You really have to have confidence in the guy being able to control the running game a little bit. Also, if there's a runner at third, and not be afraid to throw the good knuckleball at that point. Use that big glove. Totally different skill.
3-1 the count to Nikias. They're not going to hold the runner on at first base. Ground ball toward the hole, backhanded by Betancourt. Gets the runner at second, and in time to turn the double play. That was a very nice play all the way around by Betancourt and Michael Martinez, who really hung in there at second base.
You have a catcher running, so you know you have a shot at this. That's why Michael Martinez threw it instead of just putting it in his pocket. Betancourt starts it. Good job using the bag for protection. Made the runner come at him. Never got to him. And they turn the double play.
Well, now Eugenio Velez is the batter for the Blue Jays. And Velez is up with 2 men down here in the top of the 9th inning. Tomorrow the Phillies will be in Bradenton to take on the Pirates. That game will begin at 1:05. You can listen to that game at Phillies.com if you choose. John Lannon will make his second start for the Phillies. A.J. Burnett will start for the Pirates. Tuesday, the Phillies will have Cole Hamels on the mound against the Dominican Republic.
Pretty good changeup.
One ball, one strike to count to Velez.
Rolling out those Spanish names on Tuesday.
Yeah, they have not announced. The Dominican Republic has not announced who their starter will be on Tuesday. Another change up, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
With the Venezuelan team here one year, with Bobby Abreu played on that team. That was fun. And a lot of their fans were here too, and really enthusiastic. There'll probably be a lot of Dominican fans here on Tuesday afternoon.
I don't know what Joe Savory's throwing velocity-wise, but the ball's jumping pretty good for him.
Yeah, he's had pretty good location today. Change up, little breaking ball. A real good breaking ball last inning for a called third.
Former #1 pick for the Phillies. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the pitch. Check swing, foul ball. That'll wake everybody up over behind the net. Savory had the tour going last year between Lehigh Valley and Philadelphia for most of the season.
Yeah, it only counts as one option. You can do an awful lot of that for the guy, and it's still only one.
Three and 2 the count. Ball 4, so the inning continues. A 2-out walk here in the 9th.
And Stubby's down there on the bench with his sitting outside the bench with his cap up in the air. They want to get somebody going just in case.
Yeah, he was signaling to Ray Burris, who's the Lehigh Valley pitching coach, who is the bullpen coach today, because Rod Nichols is down in Sarasota with the split squad as the pitching coach. Lance Zawatsky is the batter for the Blue Jays.
Ray Burris out there. A lot of battles with the Phillies over the years. Really a great guy to have around. And he told me that we started talking about the 23-22 game. He says, guess who the only pitcher in that game was to pitch a perfect inning? I said, well, it has to be you. He said,
you asked.
Yes, it was. He said, I was the only, no, I didn't why not to. I was the only one not to get scored on. I don't know if it was a perfect inning or not, but There weren't any pitchers who could get guys out that afternoon.
All right, what do you remember about Ray Burris when he was a player?
Strike thrower, sinker, slider, tough on right-handed hitters, really competitive too.
Swing and a miss by Zawatsky. It's 1-1. Don't you remember him just looking mean out of the mound?
Yeah, he's a competitor.
Yeah.
The right-handed hitters didn't like him because the ball was heavy and he had that hard slider away.
He's not a mean guy.
No, he's a really nice guy. Pitched in the National League a lot.
Jose Cruz, I used to think that too. From the Astros.
Yeah.
He just looked angry all the time.
He looked like he's been sucking a lemon.
1-2 the count. Savory trying to get the final strike, the final out here in the 9th inning. And it's in the dirt, 2-2.
He was Ray Burris, the first time I talked to him, was very respectful of those Phillies teams back in the 70s. You know, the Lazinskis and Schmitz, obviously. He said, Bubba used to really tick me off. He said, when he'd get a hit off me.
Sure, pick on the littlest guy.
That's what he said. Well, that's what he thought he should get him out. And Bo could wear those kind of guys out. They hit it back through the middle.
And a called strike 3, and that will do it. Joe Savory finishes off the 9th inning and finishes off this ball game for the Phillies. A 13-5 win here this afternoon here in Clearwater. The Phillies offense came to life, somewhat sloppy defensively, but Charlie Manuel's team will take the victory. They win at 13-5. We'll take a break and be back right after this.
All right.